guys, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and today I wanted to come to you with a quick project share and also a little bit of a process video showing you how I make one of my cards. This card that I'm showing you here, I recently just shared just a quick snippet of it in my previous video because I did use the Tonic Craft Kit number 15, the one that just released at the beginning of this month, for part of this card, but I didn't really speak of the card in the video or anything like that, and I was making multiples, so I decided to go ahead and share it. I believe the other one may have been in a different direction. It may have been horizontal, and now I can't remember. To show you what I used, I did use these American Craft Bible journaling stamps. I like to grab a hold of these when I see them in the stores because I love adding scripture and sentiments of that sort to my cards. So I did use this stamp here. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." However, I used it a little bit differently, and I'll show you what I did. I also used for the flowers that you see here. This is an older stamp set that I picked up, I believe from someone on Facebook, and I just really liked it. I love the flowers. This is from Stampendous. And it says Franz Clear Stamps. It's called Daisy Thanks. And I really love those flowers. I don't believe I've used the rest of it yet, but I really like using that stamp set. And I've also used this one here, which comes with the dies as well. And this I picked up a while back at Tuesday morning, and I was meaning to use it, and it was just sitting about. So I used the envelope here. And this one's nice because it comes with 4 sentiments here. And this one's designed by Richard Garay, and it's called Noteworthy. Yeah, I thought that was a cute little set as well. And let's see, I'm using my Distress Oxide ink just in walnut stain, and I have used alcohol markers in several colors. I'm not going to get into the coloring, however, because that's, it's up to everyone how you want to color images. So yeah, what I do is I stamp multiple images. Oh, and I forgot to mention the little nurse here. Now this I've had in my stash for quite a long time, and in fact, when I got it from someone who gifted this to me. So I believe her name is Nurse Nora, but I'm not 100% sure, but I do know, I found out later that it was designed by CC Designs, and I think she's such an adorable little image. So I colored her using different alcohol markers, as you can see. And I always give glimmer and shine to the things that I color. That's just what I enjoy doing. So she does have a little glimmer here and there. And then for this one, I don't know if you can tell, but I did use Nouveau drops for her earrings. I think she's so cute, and she does have little wings. And years ago, if you go to my blog, I do have a blog. It's www.paintsandglitter.com. You'll be able to see a card that I had made with her that I'd posted. So that's how long she's been in my stash. But anyway, this card is a 5x7. So I wanted to go through the assembly with you. And I have an 8.5 by 11 piece of 110-pound cardstock here, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this down. And what I like to do is, on the narrower side here, just to make the most of this paper, of course, cut it down to 7 inches. Okay, and then on this side, the long side, I'm going to cut this down to 10. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll reserve the strips for any sentiments that I may need to stamp out, whether it be to practice or anything like that. And if I didn't mention it, which I didn't, I believe I did not, for those rubber stamps, before I move on, I just wanted to quickly mention this if you're new to stamping. These kinds of rubber stamps, if you end up picking them up in whether it be a haul or D-stash or anything like that, or whether you have wood-mounted stamps and you want to get rid of the wood mounts and just keep these stamps with the sticky back. Sometimes you can still purchase them like this, or sometimes you just have older stamps and you don't want to deal with the bulk. You can definitely use the Tim Holtz platform. And what I do is that I place it on the rubber side. So this does flip over, so you have 2 options, whether you're using clear or rubber stamps. So I place it so that it says rubber on here, and then I'm able to use those, yeah, those rubber mounted stamps. Just a little pointer there in case you didn't already know. Most of you are not new to stamping and coloring, but some people don't know that. Now, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and use my scoreboard because I have one. So if I have it, I should be using it. I'm going to score this at 5 inches, right down the middle. Now, some of you like the distressed look, some of you don't. I like to mix and match. So it's whatever I'm in the mood for at the moment, that's what I'll go for. And when I do go for a distressed look, I like to ink the corners or edges of my paper. In this card, if you'll see, I did use some ink on the edges, and on the back here also you can see it kind of give it a tattered look, but I didn't ink the inside. I only inked the papers that I used on the inside there. So what I'll do is I'll repeat the same thing here. Okay, so I have my base page, and this measures 5 by 7, okay, and it's just this distressed, it's actually a Christmas paper from an old stack that I have, but it has blues in the bottom, and I wanted to use blues and the color cream on this card. And this also has some, they're actually kind of like snowflakes, but they look more like flowers, so I thought that was pretty neat. I do enjoy separating out papers from different paper lines by color sometimes if they're older, and I don't necessarily use them for the purpose that they were designed. For instance, this, you know, obviously being a Christmas paper, it doesn't mean that you have to use it for a Christmas project. As I was taught, once something is yours, you use it for whatever purpose you see fit. Now, this would be wonderful to keep adding texture to. If you wanted to, you could definitely add some gesso to this and really, really work with that. But not much of it's going to be seen. So I am going to ink this, even though this is going to be going on the inside, because I like to keep my cards cohesive. Whatever happens in the front, I want to be happening also on the inside of the card. And that's just my way of making cards. I don't think I'd made a card video in a while. I don't remember now, to be honest, but I like to keep it. Or sometimes I show the front and then I don't show the inside of the card because I forget to film it before I've written inside of them. But this one here, just to let you guys know, measures 6 by 4 3/4. Now this is the item or the die cut that came from that kit, and this is designed to be whether it be a page in a book or the cover. So depending on what material you cut out of it, you can make little books out of it. I decided to just cut it out of a few papers that I had, and it just so happened that I needed some cards, and I'm trying to be better about having cards on hand, which is it's so hard. For some reason, I lose inspiration if I have to make multiples of something. I don't know why, but I'm trying to be better about that and just get over it and make multiples, because I certainly need them, and it always happens that the ones that I don't have are the ones that I suddenly need 2 or 3 of them. Okay, so what I did was I also used another die from the kit number 15, the Tonic Craft Kit, and this one has this little stitch border here, which I really love. So what I did was I used this paper, which also I believe this came from a Christmas stack. I don't remember, but it has glimmer in it. I wouldn't call it glitter in and of itself, but it kind of looks like it's embossed, if you will. So I cut 2 of those, one of them for the inside, one for the cover, and I do want it to be vertical here on the cover. Then the little envelope. And so what I did was that I stamped part of the sentiment that I was referring to, because it wouldn't all fit. Then I just picked the part that I really wanted on that, and I stamped that. And then to give it a more tattered look, I used distressed crayons from Ranger or Tim Holtz. And then I also did the distressing on the edges of the little envelope. And then, like I said before, the die will cut the entire piece out. So you stamp it twice, one on the paper that you want to go on the inside. I fussy cut this part. And then you stamp it again, and then that part is what you cut out for your envelope. So I wanted it in blue, and that's what I went with. And then here is the stamp of the flowers that I colored using alcohol markers, and then I also gave it some glimmer there with a Jelly Roll pen. And then a little pointer here, if you have areas there that are, you know, small, what you can do, what I did was to cast a shadow there to give it some depth, was that I just used a light gray alcohol marker. And so that's going to give it, you know, that look of have space behind that stamp. So I'm going to start adhering this. I wish that I could do live videos, but I'm not sure if, yeah, leave me a comment below and tell me if that is something that you would be interested in, because, you know, we all have schedules. So now I inevitably get ink all over the place when I do the distressing. If I get specks on my paper, I'm calling that handmade. I'm not going to panic about that. It stays as it is. I'm not at all concerned about that. And the same goes for the alignment here of the paper. I cut it at the same size of my card base, but as you can tell, you know, there's distressing going on there, and the whole idea is to have the bottom paper peek through. So if it rolls up and that sort of thing, then that's exactly what I want to happen. And then you can even go back and add a little more ink to those little areas there that are rolling back, and that just gives it a cute, you know, bit of texture there. So now I'm going to lay this one. So back to the topic about live videos. I get nervous. I tried a live video. One of them I took off of the publication there, or whatever you call it, because I didn't want people to think, you know, like, what happened? I was just having fun. My son was here, and we were just laughing it up. And when my son is with me, I don't know. I get into, you know, this giddy mode sometimes, just because I love to watch him smile. I love to watch him laugh. And, oh, I forgot. Goodness sakes. I love to add fiber to my cards. So, and yes, I do try my hand. Let me show you here. I try my hand at crocheting here and there, guys. So I was playing around with these little flowers, but the fibers here, I don't know if you can tell. If you know anything about that, it goes wide, thin, wide. So this wasn't the best option for the little flowers that I was making, but it doesn't matter. That's a different topic. But I'm going to wrap this around like so. And this is going to give that pop of color that I'm looking for. And I'm going to cut my fiber there. So yeah, so that live video was a completely just nutty video, so I took it down. But I had fun when I was doing it. I would like to do a live video, but have it be more structured, of course, more planned out on a particular topic. So that would be something fun to do. I just, you know, I know that it's holiday season, it's kind of crazy, so it would be, I'm thinking beginning of next year. So if I'm working on certain projects that are maybe more long-term, then maybe I'll do a series. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. Either way is fine. If you think it's a waste of time, then be candid. I appreciate candid comments, by the way. I just, I don't appreciate negative comments just because I don't think it's constructive. So I think that's probably the same for everyone. All right, so let me see, make sure here. All right, so what I'm doing here now is I'm gonna lay this base. I'm just eyeballing this, but there is a method to my madness. Then the next piece that I'm gonna lay here is gonna be the flowers. And what I did in the other one was that I sort of tucked in the little envelope like so, because I wanted it to fit underneath these petals. So I'm gonna cut away a little bit of that edge there to make sure I give myself some room. So until it's glued down, guys, the card is not done, right? That's just how it goes. For fussy cutting, I try to do this all at once, but every once in a while, a little detail escapes me, like the letter S. Okay, there we go. And I think I want to take off a tiny bit more there. But I did use on here, just to let you guys know, I used about 4 different colors of yellow and a beige, okay, just for that lighter color there on that flower. I used like a skin color on that, because if it's in the same color family, it's going to look fine. So let's see. Okay, so I'm liking the way that that looks, and that's how I'm going to adhere it. So you can do this more than one way. I'm going to do this. I'm holding my pieces together and I'm applying the adhesive all in one here. Like that. It's going to kind of help keep everything together there. And one more. Like that. So it's essentially making 2 pieces out of one, but I want this part here to stand out, so I'm going to put some dimensional adhesive there. For that, I'm going to use these pop dots that I have. I think that's what these are called anyway, but it's just foam with adhesive on both sides. And it's convenient. I'd also keep the rolls of foam, the ones that come like kind of like that. I do use those quite often. I think that's going to be enough to pop that out. On the other one I made it much more dimensional, but because I'm mailing this one, I'm not going to make it so thick. Okay, although this is a 5x7 card. Alright, so I'm liking the way that looks there. And now to finish the front, I'm going to get my little image of the girl here. I think for this one I'm going to use the one with pink. I think she looks cute. Wow, her little earrings are poppin'. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to use some more of these because she does have quite a bit of dimension. And I think that just adds interest to the card, but it doesn't have to be, you know, you wouldn't lose anything if you just kept it in one dimension. I just enjoy it. Okay, so part of that flower does get covered, but I'm not concerned. I don't think anyone else would be either. Alright. Now for the inside of this card. No, okay, so the front is complete. All done with that. I'm loving it. Now there's a little bit of empty space on both corners, but it evens out because of the fact that it is diagonal and then this is diagonal. So that's something that to keep in mind when you're designing a card. Is I've shared this before and I don't know if other people think this way, but in design, when you're learning about design, you're given that the rule of thumb is always to think in 3s. So I have 3 elements that are catching the eye in the front of my card, and that's what I like to work with. So I've got my flowers, my sentiment, and my image. So that's a set of 3, and it's also triangulated. I know I'm getting into little technical details about card making, but they do make a difference. So if you're making a card, think in rules of 3. So if you're going to add something and it looks a little bit off, count how many of the item you have. Like, you see how these flowers are there and it looks very balanced? Well, there's three flowers there. And I don't know, I could point out a bunch of groups of 3s just in this front here, but I think it makes a difference, and I think it, you know, it's worth mentioning. So take that little tidbit with you and do with it what you will. I learned that years ago, and I try to implement it in everything that I make, and I just find that it gives me I don't know, it makes me feel more comfortable about the things that I make for others. Okay, so now I'm adding that little bow. And this one's quite simple. You could add more. You know, you can definitely shabby this up and add a whole lot more to that. But I'm going to keep it as such. And now on the inside, I'm going to add my base here. And yes, there's a lot of white space, but It'll get the point across, and that's okay. I also could have used a craft cardstock base or, you know, cream, blue, yellow. Any one of those colors would have been great as a card base here. I just wanted to use my heavy cardstock. That's why I went with a white. Although this is a bone white, it's not a stark white. This is something that you can't tell with my lighting. So I'm removing the adhesive back here. Make sure to use my grid back here to line that up. So I'm following those bold lines there. That helps me quite a bit. And then, as the same way that I did before, I'll add these guys, and I guess I should have had my adhesive right on the back already, but I didn't. I'm gonna add 2 pieces here because it's not gonna budge. Take care of this. Woohoo! Alright. So remove that. And this adhesive it's pretty good. Of course, temperature will affect that. So, you know, you can use liquid adhesive. Just, I just always recommend one that's a little creamier for cards, so that way your paper won't buckle. And I also recommend heavier paper for cards, too. Keep the lightweight stuff for, you know, for decorative purposes. Now, I kept this one closer to this corner on purpose because I just want to show a bit of that paper. But then this one here is going to be lower and more centered. That's going to give me the look that I'm going for. And then here I have these little corners that I cut out several of these with the same craft kit. Okay, and I'm going to just use these on the corners here and here, and that'll finish off my card. Just want to pick the ones that I think are going to look best. And yes, I am that nitpicky. Okay, so now I've got a little hint of glimmer there on the edges, and that's what I was going for. And what's left is just to pick up the mess of, oopsie, this little guy wanted to come along with me. But it has to stay. All right. Okay, let me make sure that that's straight though. Don't want a crooked corner. Here we go. These little pieces are sometimes the most work, right? But so long as it stays, there we go. I think I'll be all right. And there we are. Our card is complete. All set. And I'm really happy with it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, notification button, all that good stuff if you want to see videos like this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at paintsandglitter@gmail.com. And I'm just happy that you were able to spend a little bit of time with me, and I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. Take care. Bye-bye.